Welcome to Problem Solve, the podcast where me and a special co-host solve all your problems really easily, probably.
Problems? Are you kidding me? I don't have any problems. Okay, I might have a few, but I can work on them with you. Come on.
Hello and welcome to Problem Solved. I am Jeff Gunther, licensed professional counselor, and it is another solo episode. I had a solo episode last week, and I gave you all a little tease that I was going to go on a mushroom journey, a psilocybin journey, which is legal in Oregon, where you take mushrooms with a facilitator who is licensed to guide you, and you have a whole experience. I'm going to tell you about how that went, but if you're not interested in my psilocybin journey, totally fair, and you should skip this part and go to the part in this podcast episode where I start answering questions from you all. I don't know exactly when that is going to be, so I'm going to count on my producer, Andrea, to put the timestamp of when I start answering questions right here.
You're going to want to skip ahead about 14 minutes, right around 15:30. That should be the very first question.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay. So I went on a psilocybin journey, and a big part of the reason I did that was because, as you may know, I'm feeling kind of burnt out by this whole Therapy Jeff thing. I'm taking a break from posting videos on TikTok and Instagram, and I just don't know what's next. I feel like I have no idea what the next creative chapter of my life is going to be. The book came out, and it was really exciting to launch that book, but I was even more excited to be on the other side of the book because it was such a process to put it out there. And one of the things that came up for me as I was doing my live book events is that nobody in my family showed up. Partly because I have told my mother and sister that I want to that I'm having a boundary with them, that if they want to have a relationship with me, then they need to go to family therapy with me. And it's been a couple of years. They've said no to that. And my dad he didn't step up. He could have came to a live event and he decided not to. So there was no family at the event, which got me into, made me dive back into the grief of not having the family that I wanted to have, which was also one of the reasons I wanted to go on a little mushroom journey. The problem is that historically, I do not have good experiences with mushrooms or anything that is hallucinogenic. In fact, I've had incredibly bad experiences, and I thought that I would never do any sort of hallucinogenic ever again in my entire life. But a very good friend reached out. She was a psychologist, and she's sort of newly licensed in Oregon to assist people on their mushroom journeys. And she was like, hey, I know that you haven't had a great experience. If you want a better experience, I'm here for you. We can talk about it. And so we had a few conversations, and I decided, what the hell? I'm going to go for it because I really trust her. I got to be very specific about the setting that I wanted to do it in. And I only wanted to take maybe 2 to 3 grams of mushrooms, which is sort of a lower dose, but will definitely get you there. So it was last Friday. It was exactly a week ago, that I went on the mushroom journey. And she gave me, my facilitator, she gave me the mushrooms. There are 2 really big mushrooms and a little tiny part of a mushroom. And I held them in my hand and I was like, I don't want to do this. Everything in my body is telling me not to do this. I need to just put these down and leave. And I was telling her this, and she was like, okay, let's hang out. Let's just sort of be comfy here. No big deal. You don't have to do it. And then she sort of looked at the mushrooms and she was like, hey, it looks like there's a mom mushroom and a dad mushroom and then a little kid mushroom. And maybe the mom and dad mushroom, they'll treat you the way that you wanted your mom and dad to treat you. They'll take care of you on this journey. She said something like that, and it just sort of clicked, and I was like, yeah. So I ate the family of mushrooms, and then I sat back, laid down on the bed. I closed my eyes. About 10 to 15 minutes later, I start feeling it. About 20 to 30 minutes later, I'm like in it. Like I said, I took 2 grams and I had the option to take 1 other gram 90 minutes in. She gave me that option. I was like, fuck no, I am out of my mind right now. Like, there's no way I want this to be more intense. Overall, I was uncomfortable. And there was a big part of me that did not enjoy the experience. I was hoping for blissfulness. I was hoping for really amazing insights that would blow my mind. And I did get some insights, and I never felt any bliss, and it didn't feel good. And I don't think I will ever do it again. The thing is that there was these mushrooms and they were trying to do their thing. They were trying as hard as they could to do their thing. I felt the wisdom of the mushrooms. And then there was another part of me that was like, I am not going to let go. I'm going to fight you. Now, the part of me that wanted to fight the mushrooms, I was kind of begging with myself to just let go, let the mushrooms do their thing. So it felt like I was caught in between these two incredibly powerful forces, the mushrooms and the fear of letting go. And that lasted the entire time. And I felt the tension. It was just me stuck in the tension. I don't know, a bunch of times I looked at my facilitator and I was like, I'm uncomfortable. I would like this to end. And she was like, yeah, okay, well, it's not going to end right now. What can we do to make you feel comfy? Can you get up? Can you talk to me? Can you move your body? Can you breathe? She was amazing. I loved her. If it wasn't for her, I would have had a total 100% freak out. That being said, there were some things that happened that have really stuck with me. There was this one part where there was like this violin playing, and all of a sudden I started visualizing the violin, and each string on the violin represented a family member, so my sister, my mom, my dad, and I was like watching my family members be those strings, and then I was the bow of the violin that was playing those strings, and I was talking about how I was causing tension on the family. And even though that's difficult to experience, it also creates a really beautiful music. And I was like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. We're all doing what we're supposed to be doing. But that really stuck with me, where I was just like, oh, like my family is together. They are the strings, and I'm the thing that's like causing agitation. But so many beautiful sounds coming out of it, and lots of growth opportunity. I don't know, I'm still thinking about that. I was also thinking a lot about my mom and how I've just felt like I never really got the love that I needed, requested, deserved from my mom. My mom is a well-meaning person. However, she has her own mental health and addiction issues. And when I was born, she was addicted to drugs. When we moved to California, she soon got a divorce. She started dating somebody right after the divorce, and that person was an alcoholic and a drug addict. My sister, who's very like, I'm here, spotlight on me, like, look at me, pay attention to me. My sister's really good at getting attention, was getting it from my mom. So there was like no real space for me to kind of like, I was sort of shy, reserved, didn't speak up very much. I just sort of like naturally wanted to get love and attention from my mom, but I never got it. And there was this one time when I was 7 and 8 years old, I would go to bed at night, and I would wake up always around the same time, around like midnight, between midnight and 1 in the morning. And I'd wake up looking into my room, and there was a family of ghosts that were walking around in a circle in my room. And there was a mom, a dad, 2 kids, and then a little like infant sort of like on the dad's shoulders. And they were just walking in a circle real slow in my room, tinted red, and they were looking at me. And I was really scared every single night. And most nights I would have to build up enough courage to scream for my mom. But it was kind of like I didn't want to be too loud and wake up the whole house. I just wanted her to hear me. So I'd do this. I'd yell for my mom. She would typically come down the hallway, open my door, and tell me, it's okay. You're just dreaming. Side note, I wasn't dreaming. I was seeing real ghosts. Whatever. But when she'd walk into the door, the ghost would disappear and she'd like rub my back and tell me to go to sleep. And it felt like she really loved me. Like that was a really sweet way to get love and affection from my mom, where I would just scream for her and she'd come. And it felt like it was this sort of, I'm not a parent, but I know that there's almost like this biological mama bear urge when you hear your child is screaming or scared, you go to them. And it was the middle of the night. She was sleeping, so she would kind of sleepily go to me and soothe me. And it was very sweet. Anyways, I was thinking and feeling, I was remembering those times when I was on my mushroom trip. And that felt really nice and also really sad that was kind of the only time that I felt like I got just sort of pure love from her. Then I started talking about the song Monkey Wrench by Foo Fighters, as you know, one of the greatest American rock bands ever. And just stick with me here. It's going to connect for you. And the song Monkey Wrench, there's like the bridge in that song. Dave Grohl, the lead singer of Foo Fighters, sings this part in the song without taking a breath. He sort of yells the bridge. Do you remember how it goes? I memorized it when I was a kid because I would try to scream it in one breath with him. It would go, one last thing before I quit. I never wanted any more than I could fit into my head. I still remember every single word you said and all the shit that somehow came along with it. Still, there's one thing that comforts me since I was always Keisha. Now I'm free. And then he yells free forever, and to yell that, he sings it even slower in the song. Oh my God, it was just the most impressive scream singing I had ever heard when I was a teenager. And I was thinking about that song while I was on mushrooms and talking about how impressive it was, and also how sad it is that now Dave Grohl, who's much older than he was in the 90s, and when he is live in concert, he can't sing that part in one breath anymore. He takes a breath. And I get incredibly sad when I think about that. And I thought it was interesting, and so did my psychologist facilitator thought it was interesting that I was thinking about how much I would scream for my mom and when I was little, and I get the love that I wanted, how impressed I was with Dave Grohl when he would do that whole bridge in one breath, and how sad I am for him now that he has to take a breath. And then he can't scream like that anymore, and how I can't scream for my mom in a way where I get just pure love in return. I think that's probably very healthy for Dave Grohl to take a breath. I want to know if he's let down by his younger self, who created art back then that his older self can't recreate in the way that he wanted to. I also talked about how Dave Grohl is my dad, but I think he's America's dad. I wish he was my dad, though. I spent a lot of time also thinking about friends, really good friends that I've had throughout the years. It was sort of like a life review of friends, soulmatey friends. I ended the mushroom trip being it was really hard to reintegrate back into consensus reality. To be honest with you, a week later, it still feels a little tricky. It feels like my brain is reformatting. It feels like I had a brain injury or a concussion. Things felt really scrambly. The 3 days after the mushrooms, it felt like I was in the Truman Show and it was all make-believe. And I was just fuck it, I don't care. I'm just going to play the part. Anyways, I didn't quite get what I wanted. I think I got what I needed. I'm still feeling the after effects. I will continue to have integration sessions. And that is how my mushroom journey went. Okay, let's start with your questions. This is a podcast where we explore the intricate world of relationships and navigate the complexity of mental health together. I am Jeff Gunther, a licensed therapist, but in this space, I'm your host, not your personal therapist or the therapist for our guests. This show offers a platform for open conversations about relationship and mental health challenges, providing insights and perspectives for educational and entertainment purposes only. It's crucial to remember that our discussions do not replace professional therapy or constitute a therapist-client relationship between myself, our callers, or you, our listeners. If you're dealing with personal struggles or seeking support, I urge you to consult with a qualified professional who can provide the personalized care you deserve. Thank you for being here. Let's dive in.
Hi, Therapy Jeff. I think I know what you're going to say to this question. And it makes me sound like a terrible person, but I am confused about it, so I thought I might as well ask. I've been single for a really long time, like 12 years. I'm in my mid-40s. My children are nearly grown up and left the house. And I've finally met this guy who seems nice in so many ways. Strong, kind, attractive. Now, he does live quite a bit away from me. So that's a bit of a minus because we'd have to do long distance for a while. And he's also a bit full on, and that's a bit of a minus too because I find it a bit overwhelming. But the biggest thing that I'm struggling with is the fact that he has a really low income. And it has shocked me how resistant I am to him because of it. And I know it makes me sound like a money grabber, and I'm not. Like, I don't need somebody to take me to posh hotels or, buy me diamond rings. It's not it at all. It's just that money has always been such a struggle for me, and I'm still under financial strain, and I don't want to have to carry anybody, and I find it really, there's something about it that I just find it repellent. But I can't say it because, you can't tell somebody that you might break up with them because they don't earn enough money. And at this stage of his life, there's very little chance that he's going to earn any more money, So is it just fear? Am I a really bad person? Is it reasonable? I just don't want to have to carry somebody financially. I've been a single parent for a long time, and it just feels like a major turn off to me. I don't need somebody who's rich, but I definitely need somebody who's maybe on a par with me, I feel. Anyway, let me know what you think, or obviously don't let me know what you think. I'm just sharing this with you. Oh, Jesus. Thanks.
Okay, first of all, two things. One, you don't know what I'm going to say. You don't know what I'm going to say. I could be saying something that is the opposite. And that's you projecting your guilt onto me, thinking that I'm going to tell you to just fucking get over it. So slow your horses, hold your horses, hold them and slow them down. Second, you're not a terrible person. You are not a terrible person for having fears, for having money anxiety, for having preferences, for feeling like you're turned off or it's an ick or this is a red flag. We need to accept where you are right now. We can talk about where you want to go and how to get there if you're feeling inspired. But the I'm a terrible person for feeling this way is not the way to start. You're a wonderful person. You have a fantastic accent and you're a fucking catch. Okay, we got those two things out of the way. Also, good job getting out there after 12 years. Very proud of you. That's amazing. We love to see it. I was going to look up what it means when you said he's a bit full on. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea what that means. And I forgot to Google it or ask ChatGPT to tell me what it is. Is it like he's a bit full of himself? Is that it? Like he's like he's got a big ego, a full on, like he's really busy. I have no idea. So somebody slide into my DMs and please tell me what a bit full on means because I'd really like to know. Okay. It shocks you. You said it shocks you how resistant you are. like I said, let's work on self-compassion here. And why would it shock you? I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked about how resistant you are to his, low income or not enough income that he makes. You've gone through money troubles. Money has been a struggle, and you don't want to carry someone else. That makes 100% sense. I totally get where you're coming from. Again, I'm trying to just to be transparent. I'm really trying my best to validate you so you don't feel ashamed, so that you don't feel guilty. That would be something that I would spend many weeks, many sessions on with my client if they were feeling the way that you were feeling. Just validating their emotional experience, understanding where it comes from, and being a little more gentle with yourself. So see if you can do that and understand that it's okay that you have these fears baked in because of your experience with money. It's okay that you find it repellent. And, maybe you could say something to him about it. I hear you saying that you don't want to tell him that you feel repelled by the amount of money that he doesn't make. Fair. And I don't think you should tell him that. I don't think you should use those words. But what can you say? What can you communicate to him about your fears around money? Okay. So I'm thinking out loud here. You can let him know about your experience with money and how stressful it has been in your, in your current present life, in your relationship past, maybe the money issues that you viewed or experienced when you were a kid in your family. Just let him know where that's coming from. And I think that it's totally fine to be honest about where everybody's income level is in a relationship, even at the start of dating, just to kind of understand what's out there, to be transparent about it. Because with money comes issues. With money comes power struggles. We have to understand how money is affecting our relationship and how we connect with people. So I want you to be transparent about your fears around money so that he can be understanding, so that he can be compassionate about where you're coming from, and so that he can be reassuring about how you don't have to take care of him. I imagine that you've been in situations where you've had to take care of other folks that don't have enough money. And that you're taking that experience and projecting it onto this experience because all of the dots are, lining up or something. That's not the metaphor. I'm mixing metaphors here, but you understand what I'm saying. So if you can let him know about your money fears and about how there's this urge inside of you to want to take care, to fear that you're going to have to pay for all of the stuff or all of his stuff, then you can express that fear and see what he'll do with it. See if he can understand where you're coming from. See if he can not take it personally and just sort of have a meta conversation around it. What would we do in these situations if we had to, pay for vacations or pay for a house to live in or pay for utilities and stuff like that? If you want to talk about how you would split up money or how that you wouldn't split up money at all, then go ahead and have those conversations. If that is the thing that's holding you back from being closer with him in relationship, I kind of think he deserves to know so that he can try to address it. And if he can't address it or you can't feel better about it, then there you go, right? Again, it is reasonable for you to have this fear. I totally get where it's coming from. It's a turnoff because there's a part of you that's protecting yourself. And we love that part of you that's protecting yourself, that's trying to make it so that you're in relationships that serve you, that are balanced, that feel fair. But you might, like you're saying, you might be protecting yourself a little too much, so much so that you're kind of pulling away, disconnecting, thinking about ending or sabotaging the relationship. I get this. Okay. All that being said, I'm saying there's a very good chance that you might be able to work this out with him. All that being said, you can still have a preference. I think you should figure out where those preferences are coming from and ask yourself if you're okay with it. And then ask yourself if you want to change them and give it a try to actually change them. So you prefer to date somebody who's making just as much money as you, or who is financially secure, who's making even more money than you. Fine. Why do we have to shit all over that preference? You don't feel good about it. But I feel like you're judging yourself. So maybe you just have that preference. Now, where's it coming from? It sounds like you have insight about where it's coming from. Do you want to change it? So you can go to therapy, you can journal about it, you can think about it, you can talk to your friends about it, you can like try to change your narratives about it, whatever you need to. Go ahead and give it a try if you want to change it. If you can change it, great. If not, then maybe you can't change it. The thing is like, what this brought up for me is that I have preferences in relationship, and some of those preferences don't match up with how evolved I experience myself as. I think I'm a very progressive, inclusive, understanding, lovely, I accept everyone how they are kind of dater, right? And that really conflicts with the part of me, a really big part of me, that is only attracted to certain bodies. And I understand that the main reason I'm attracted to the bodies that I'm attracted to is because of Hollywood, media, magazines, the culture, porn. It's because of like the way that women have been marketed to me. It's the messages that I've picked up about what women should look like and what I should be attracted to. And that shaped my little kid, teenager brain to only be attracted to a certain type of body size. That does not fit with how evolved and woke and inclusive I know myself to be. And that is such a fucking conflict that I fucking hate, that I've talked about in therapy for many, many, many sessions. And there's things that I have to do if I date somebody who doesn't have the typical body that I'm attracted to, then I try to find other parts of them that I'm attracted to. I try to really lean into the emotional closeness, the banter, the safety, all the like the sexy kinky things that we can do to each other and with each other. Yet there's still something that's holding me back from being with like not my ideal body type. And I hate it and it sucks and I feel ashamed of it. And I don't know if I can change that. And it just happens to be a preference of mine. And both of those things can exist at the same time, is what I'm telling myself. And yes, it might be a justification, but I stand behind it, where I can have a preference for the type of body that I'm attracted to, and I can be really evolved and woke and inclusive. Or maybe I can't, and that's okay too. Right. And it's maybe unfair of me to date people that I know I'm not attracted to because they could go be with somebody who's 100% attracted to them. All this to say is, if this financial preference is coming from a place that you don't like, but you can't change it, and you would rather just date somebody who has a bunch of money or who is financially secure, then do it, babe. Do it and don't judge yourself for it. Try to evolve if you can. Poke around if you can. But if you can't change it, don't change it. I don't know. Does that feel like not great advice? I think it's good advice. Take this advice if you think you should take this advice, and cut yourself some fucking slack. What else do I have to say about this? Also, one more thing. I think that maybe, I don't know if this is true, but I think that maybe this is possibly the first person you've met after taking a 12-year break, and you could be putting him up on a pedestal, being like, oh my God, look at all these wonderful things about him. If it just wasn't the money issue, then it would be perfect. That's a really kind of black and white way to think. And I wonder if you could have maybe more experience dating other people, knowing that like you could actually find somebody who is financially secure or makes more money, and they have all these other wonderful things that this other person has. Like, You know what I mean? I feel like you might be like, because you feel ashamed of your preference, you're looking at all of his good things and being like, oh, I won't be able to find this in anybody else. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I'm just putting that out there. I know it's a thing that all of us can do. Okay. Solid advice. Before we get to the next question, I'm going to mix things up by giving you all a little ad. And this company is a company that I reached out to personally. And I was like, hey, you should sponsor this podcast. And they were like, yeah, I think we should. And they are Beducated. Beducated has over 100 online courses on sex and intimacy. Go to Beducated right now and look through all of their courses that you can take. You should sign up if you're single or if you're in a relationship. It works for everybody. It's created by the world's top experts. These people know what they're doing. And the courses and videos are so incredibly easy to follow. They have everything from self-pleasure to kink in one place. You know what I'm going to do actually right now? I'm going to go to their website and look at their course descriptions, just so you get an understanding of what they can offer you and your partner. So they have courses on couples practices, just to make sure that you have like a healthy, strong relationship. They have courses on libido and desire, because as we know, people, you do not typically have the same exact amount of desire in relationships. It is a very common problem, and you should go to Beducated if you want to try to solve it. They also have a course on sensual massage. I guarantee there is not enough sensual massages in your relationship. They have courses catering towards the LGBTQ community, kink and BDSM community. So if you're just like, hey, I think I might be a little kinky, I think I might want to mess around with BDSM, they have courses that will guide you in order to do that with your partner. They also just have courses on communication and sexual health, so that you can make sure that you have like a really healthy long-term connection. Courses on pleasing a penis, pleasing a vulva, or like I said, if you're a solo person, they have courses on solo practice for penis owners and solo practice for vulva owners. Also, if you're just like, I need more help dating, and like I say, always be dating, whether it's a new relationship or a long-term relationship. You can check out courses at Beducated about dating and also anal pleasure. What the hell? Like, go for it. Tantra, you want to learn about it? Get over there. So take it from me. I really think you need to check out Beducated today. Go to beducate.me/Jeff50. That's beducate.me/Jeff50, or click on the link in the show notes and sign up to Beducated. Also, you can use my promo code, which is Problem Solved. That's one word, Problem Solved, to get 50% off the yearly pass. You can test the waters with a 24-hour free trial. It is risk-free. It's a 14-day money-back guarantee. You will not be sorry.
Hi, Jeff. I am a longtime listener, and I was wondering if you had any suggestions on a problem I'm having with my partner. Basically, my partner is a very social person and has a ton of friends, and I am not so social, and I don't have a ton of friends. I'm a very private person, and I'm also autistic, and I have made it clear to my partner that I would prefer for them not to share like intimate or vulnerable details about our relationship and about me to their friends when talking about relationship stuff. And they don't seem to understand where I'm coming from. I have tried to explain it like so many different ways, and we always end up at like a stalemate of misunderstanding. My partner like says that because we're in a queer relationship, like queer people lean on their community for this kind of thing and talk about their relationships, and like the fact that I'm asking them to use their discretion when asking or like when talking about our relationship and what to share. They say that it's like not fair of me to ask that of them, and they don't want to feel restricted. But I also don't feel like it's like an unreasonable ask to like have them think about like what are like the things that are personal to me, like my vulnerable, intimate, like feelings about things, or my history with certain things or with other partners, things that I've confided in my partner in and disclosed to my partner, and we've had like vulnerable and intimate moments around. I want to consent to that kind of information being given out about me and about our relationship. And I've made it very clear to my partner that I'm not saying you can't talk about our relationship. Like, please, if you need to like talk to someone, like they have their own therapist and they talk about our relationship in therapy, but they're saying that they feel like I'm being controlling when I'm like asking them to, you know, use their discretion when talking with their friends, people that I'm also like friendly with about things involving me. And I don't think that's an unfair ask, to like want to consent to those things. But they seem to think it's not fair. And they are saying that they don't want to need to have a filter. And they look at things of like, I can either share everything and be unrestricted and not have to think about that, or I won't say anything at all because I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what I can and can't say. And I'm not entirely sure how to go about this anymore, and how to be clearer. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you.
This one is triggering because this is an issue that I deal with in my relationships. I'm going to sing the answer to... No, I'm not going to. Okay, I don't even know why I was being sing-songy, but this is a tough one. I am the one in the relationship where I'm just like, I want to share everything with everybody. I have a really strong community and most of them are therapists and we all are relationship advocates together, and I can share things with them, all the private stuff that you might feel uncomfortable with, but they're all really respectful. And lovely people who will keep in mind that they're not going to use this information against you or hold it against you or use it as power. And why don't you trust me and my friendship so that this is actually like making the relationship with you even stronger if I can share it with my community. And I can really come from this place where I'm just like, I am the one who's evolved. I am the one who feels comfortable sharing all of this information. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you that you're so controlling about the information that's out there and that you can't trust that me and my friends would be able to sift through this information in a really respectful way, right? That is gross. I don't want to say that. I don't want to take, but like there's a part of me that feels that way. I don't like that your partner can use that against you. This is great. This question is so good for me because you're asking it in a really sweet, vulnerable way, and it's an opportunity for me to grow in front of everybody. I'm such an amazing role model for all of you. You're so lucky to listen to this podcast for free. Okay. There is a level of privacy that needs to be respected. That is my bottom line. And I think that your partner would feel the same way. Maybe your partner is a lot more okay with their information being shared and trusts that you would be careful with it. But there is a line that they probably don't want you to cross. I have a line that I don't want my partners to cross when sharing information. There's certain things that feel so private and so vulnerable, or I'm the one that wants to share the story. I don't want anyone else to share my story, so I want to consent to it. So you both have lines. Let's not pretend like your partner doesn't have a line. And when it comes down to it, their line and your line should be respected. You should be able to consent to the information that's being put out there. Your privacy is important. And also, you don't want to control their relationships. I get it. You want them to have the best, lovely, most open relationships they want and need in order to feel fulfilled in their life and in the relationship. I get it. Also, you didn't bring this up. I'm just going to kind of say this for the listeners. There is a difference between a rule or request and a boundary. So you caller, are making a request. You're putting a rule out there. Can we have a rule that we won't share information that we haven't already consented to? And it would be different than a boundary. I think a lot of people confuse rules and boundaries. So it's not a boundary for you to say what you want them to do or not do, because they get to decide what they want to do. A boundary would be, if we stick with this example, a boundary would be, if you do share, then I will break up with you, or I will pull away from you, or I will not share anything personal with you. Right, that would be a boundary. That's because you have control over your behavior. But this is more of a rule or request. And I think that we should all start with requests and with a relationship rule, instead of just being like, "This is my boundary, and if you don't do this, then fuck you, I'm leaving." Right. Anyways, I just want to throw that out there. I think that you deserve to be in a relationship that prioritizes your privacy. I think that your partner deserves to be in a relationship that allows them to share what they need to share. If you want to be in a relationship together, though, you're going to have to make a compromise, which I hate. Compromises are the absolute worst. I also like we'll get to compromises a little bit more. Something that was a little triggering for me when you asked this question was you were quoting them. I don't know if you're quoting them 100% accurately, but you were quoting them and you said that they were saying that I either want to share everything or I won't share anything at all. Which is such fucking bullshit. You're not a child. You're not a baby. It's not like I'm going to share everything or I'm going to share nothing. I'm going to share nothing. I'm going to be miserable and I'm going to punish you. And you're going to feel so bad about it. Fuck off. Fuck right the fuck off. You can control what you share. It might be hard, but you can do it. And you're going to have to make, I'm talking to your partner here, you're going to have to make sacrifices in your relationship, whether it's about what you share or how often you sleep together or the type of places you eat, whatever. Like there's sacrifices, the time that you spend together, the hobbies that you do together, the family events that you go to. Like there's sacrifices that are going to have to be made. If you're like, there's no way I can make the sacrifice, then okay, be upfront about that. But what can you do? What sacrifice can be made on both ends? And for you, caller, you're going to have to, allow for some grace for them to change their relationship around what they typically share. I get it. And there's also, in the queer community or in the poly community and the sort of alternative relationship community, there is typically, not always, but there typically is a lot of sharing and sometimes oversharing. And that's just how it goes. And it feels really supportive in that way. I get it. The thing is that I don't know if you all have an insecure or a secure attachment with each other, but this thing is coming off as a bit of an insecure attachment. And I'm not going to label your whole relationship as insecure, but this moment feels a little insecure. And I say that because typically if we're in an insecure attachment, that means that if a problem comes up, we're like, okay, so this is how I feel and this is what I need, and good luck with however the fuck you need to be in this relationship. So it feels like you're both saying, this is what I need. I need privacy, or I need to be able to share everything. This is what I need, and good luck dealing with that on your end. That's a model of an insecure attachment. A more secure attachment would be like, okay, so this is what I need. Okay, I need privacy. I need to be able to consent. I need to know what information is being shared with certain people. That's what I need in the relationship. And then your partner would be like, okay, got it. And what I need is to be able to share freely with my friends and my community so I can get the support that I need in order to make sure that this relationship is healthy and I'm showing up as the best person possible, right? And then you kind of say to each other, all right, okay, how can we change the system so that we both get our needs met, or that we both get a lot of our needs met? What compromise can we make in order to make this work? What needs to change within the system, within the relationship, right? So if we go about it in that way, what are the compromises? What do you need to do? It comes down to that. I think, and maybe you're already doing this, emotionally validate where your other person is coming from. They're making really good points. There's no right or wrong. I don't want you to get caught in the I'm right and you're wrong. Privacy is important and you're not respecting it. And so you're an asshole. Let's try to stay away from that. So tempting. So fucking tempting. I get it. But we're here to just talk about what our emotional experience is, for both of you to emotionally validate the other person's experience. Think about it in a problem-solving kind of way. Maybe see a couples counselor or a relationship therapist about it. And be like, all right, what compromises can I make? Okay, well, you can talk to your therapist about everything. Great. If you talk to this friend, these friends, then you can talk to them about these things, just not our sexual intimacy or not the things that we're struggling with in this area, right? So be really detailed about what feels okay, and then see if they can agree to it. If you both cannot agree to it and you decide that it's a deal breaker, then it's a deal breaker. And that is what I think about that. Problem solved.
Hi, Jeff. I have a question. I was actually just scrolling through some of your Instagram posts to try to help myself with this situation, but I am finding myself every time I start seeing someone, dating somebody, very early stages, I am basically an anxious wreck and am constantly worried that they don't like me, they've changed their mind about me, whatever it is, and my mind just wanders and spins on all the possibilities of why they maybe don't like me. The other issue is that in the beginning of this stage, if we've had any physical intimacy, I question whether or not I should have done that and if it was too early. And then I feel like they've lost respect for me if we do have sex or if it's early on. So I don't know if you have any suggestions of how to kind of get through that stage of I like somebody, it's early, where's it going, how to not be constantly anxious and on the edge of my seat of whether they're going to reach back out or when we're hanging out again. Help, please.
Okay, great question. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm just going to throw out a bunch of things that maybe you can do in order to feel less anxious. Hopefully, one of these things on this very long list will help you feel some relief, but I think that maybe a handful of things could work for you. Are you ready? Let's do this. First question I have for you is, are you ready to date? It sounds like you are, like you really want to, but that's usually the first question I have for folks that are feeling really anxious about dating or getting into a relationship. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe this is your anxiety giving you a message. Maybe it's your body trying to tell you to slow down, that maybe this isn't the right move for you. So that's the first question. Are you ready to date? If so, okay, let's move forward. Maybe they don't like you. Who the fuck cares, right? A lot of people are not going to like you. I mean, I find you incredibly likable, but when we're going out and we're dating, people are not going to like us. Like, this is what happens, and it doesn't have to define who we are or how we think about ourselves. People don't get to have that much power over how we feel about us, right? So who cares? They don't like you. Some people don't like you. You don't like certain people. It doesn't matter. And what's the worst case scenario here if they don't like you? You don't see them again? Who gives a shit? Fuck them. It's just like them getting out of the way makes it even more possible for you to meet your person, your next person. So all the people that don't like you, exit stage left, right? Who gives a shit? Can you focus on why they would like you, though? I imagine that you're incredibly likable and super sweet and very fun to be around and just a great match. Maybe you can think about all the ways that they would like you instead of all the ways that they don't like you. That's a tricky one to do. I understand. We sort of have this negativity bias. I'm going to watch out for all the things that could go wrong. So I'm asking you to have a positivity bias here, which is something that we don't do a lot of, but maybe you can start doing that right now. I don't know, just a suggestion. Can you focus on whether or not you like them instead of whether or not they like you? This is a very common thing that a lot of us do, right? And if you can just flip it, sometimes you can just flip a little switch and be like, it's actually more important for me to figure out if they're cool, not so much to figure out if they think that I'm cool. Can you do that? Can that anxiety feel like excitement? I feel like this doesn't usually work very well, but sometimes it does. It works for me, so it probably works for somebody else. The anxiety, the physical feeling of anxiety can feel uncomfortable, or it can be like, I'm excited. I'm feeling really enthusiastic. I'm feeling a little scared, but ooh, I feel alive. Did that work? I feel like it never really works for anybody, but I'm still going to suggest it. So try that. Also, with like the sex part, have sex or don't have sex. It doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter. If you feel like you want to have sex, then I support that, babe. Go get those needs met. Have sexy, fun times. If it's gonna work out with the person, it doesn't matter when you have sex. I stand behind that. If you disagree with me, that is your prerogative. I don't give a shit. But I really don't think it matters whether or not you have sex with them. If it's going to be a long-term match, if that's what you're looking for, have sex on the first date or the 20th date. I don't fucking give a shit. And who said, I want you to ask yourself, who said that sleeping together early on isn't okay? Where did that message come from? Like, did you get that from church? Did you get that from toxic masculinity? Did you get that from the culture? Where did you pick that? Your parents, family? And where did you pick that up? Because you picked it up outside of yourself, most likely. And now ask yourself, does that resonate with you? Do you think it's true? Because it's not true. But do you think it's true that sleeping together early on isn't okay? Examine that for me a little bit. Maybe you're the one that takes charge and sets up the dates. I hear you really struggling with like, when are we going to hang out again? When are they going to text again? What's going on? Maybe you're giving your date a little too much power to dictate the schedule. If you want to be like, hey, great date. This was lovely. I'm seeing you on fucking Thursday. What are you doing this weekend? Like, go ahead and take charge. If you can like exercise more power, that will likely make you feel less anxious. Maybe you tell them that you're a little anxious, that you're feeling a little nervous. That's really endearing. Maybe you say that you don't feel good when you are having, feelings or thoughts of uncertainty, and you want them to help you feel a little bit better. This is actually a good little test to see how they respond to you when you're not feeling great. You don't have to totally, unload or trauma dump about why you're feeling anxious, but you can say, hey, I'm feeling a little nervous. It would make me feel a little bit better if you gave me a little bit more predictability of when we're going to hang out or when we're going to text or how much you want to. That's just like a good way to see if they can be sweet and supportive and non-judgmental. Maybe you take this opportunity. I'm going to sound like such a fucking therapist here, but bear with me. I am a therapist. But maybe you take this opportunity to sit with the anxiety. Maybe you just like let it come up and observe it, watch it, study it. Be a little scientist about it, where like, if you're doing something in the lab as a scientist, you're feeling pretty detached from it, likely, right? You're just like, oh, I wonder how these two compounds are going to interact. I wonder what's going to happen when I put these two chemicals in a petri dish. How do you like that? Science terms. I know some. And, when you're doing that, you're just like, I'm going to be really interested in what the consequence is. So can you take that same sort of, I'm going to be a witness to the science experiment and apply it to your anxiety? I wonder why this is coming up. I wonder where this is coming from. I wonder how it's going to affect my thoughts, my feelings, my body. That's really interesting. Again, this one, easier said than done, but something you might want to start working on. Can you also work on the feeling of how it manifests physically in your body? I think a lot of times when we feel anxious or jealous or insecure, it manifests physically in your body, it manifests emotionally in your heart, and it manifests cognitively in your brain, right? There's those three different ways. And a lot of times we like quickly go to like, how can I make my brain, my thoughts feel better? How can I make my feelings feel less intense? And we don't go to how can I ground myself in my body first. So when you're feeling really anxious and insecure or upset, go for a walk, do breathing exercises, play basketball. go do fitness, right? Like really ground yourself in your body, do yoga, whatever the fuck it is, so that you can feel more calm and at peace in your physical being. I think that can help out a lot. Maybe you can get in touch with where the anxiety is coming from, like where the roots are. If you want to do some analysis, helpful to do with a therapist, definitely. But if you want to try to do this on your own, like you're feeling anxious. Why are you feeling anxious? What are the narratives? Do you remember somebody telling you that you should feel anxious? Does this get attached to a past relationship where you felt abandoned? Did mommy not give you hugs enough? Did dad not play catch with you? What's going on here? So if you do like a little bit of analysis and you're curious about where the anxiety is coming from, trying to tap into where the roots are, that can be really helpful. And what are the narratives, if we're gonna focus on the cognitive part of it, what are the narratives of the anxiety? Is it I'm unlikable? Is it I'm not pretty enough? Is it I'm not interesting? Is it they don't really like me? Can you influence those narratives? Can you write those narratives down? And then can you write different narratives down that are just a little bit more relieving? Like it could be sort of neutral narratives, like I don't know. I don't know if they like me. I'm not sure what they think about me. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. Okay, that feels a little relieving. Can you make them into more positive narratives? How do they feel about me? Well, they probably enjoy my very hip haircut or love the style that I get dressed in. Or maybe they think that I'm very endearing and they love my little laugh, right? So you can influence your narratives, the thoughts that you're having sometimes. Can you see them also like the anxiety that's coming up? That's like telling you to freak out. Can you see those anxieties as parts of you that are protecting you? The anxiety is trying to do you a service. The anxiety is afraid that you're going to get hurt. So it's coming up with things that you should think about so that you don't get hurt. It's not serving you very well. It's not working. But the anxiety is trying to protect you. And it probably did protect you in the past. Maybe you learned how to be like hyper focused on things that could go wrong because that's how you survived your childhood because shit was chaotic. And if that's the case, then you can thank those parts of you that are running on, doing double duty and are really powerful and really super loud. And you can tell them, thanks, but no thanks. Like, I got myself here. You don't need to protect me as much as you need to protect me. I get why you're doing this. I have compassion for that part of me. And I'm going to focus on the different parts of me that are like cheering for me, that believe in me, that are open to different possibilities, that can sit with the unknown, right? It's thanking those parts that are working too hard, telling them to just kind of be quiet, and then focusing on different parts of you that feel better. Can you be compassionate with the feelings? I feel like you're probably just like, oh no, here's these feelings. But like, similar to the parts that you're focusing on and being compassionate, can you be compassionate with the feelings by saying things like, I get why I'm really nervous because I don't know what's going to happen. I get why I'm really scared because I've been burned in the past. It's normal to feel anxious, to feel nervous. And I'm just going to be really compassionate. I'm going to be really heart-centered with that part of me. And instead of like trying to force the feelings to go away, you're going to bring them in and be so sweet. You're going to say to yourself what you wish a parent or caregiver would say to you right now. You're going to tap into that inner child that's really scared, and you're going to reparent yourself. Say the nicest things to yourself. Can you reach out to community? Can you reach out to your friends, family, best buds, and let them know that you need help for distraction or for reassurance or as a way to vent? Can you get into therapy? Can you start going to therapy, start seeing a counselor so you can process these feelings? Can you process these feelings with your buddies? Does dating multiple people help here? Do you think that if you actually didn't put all your eggs in one basket, this would be more helpful? Or would it be more stressful? Does focusing on all the other great parts of your life help? Like, you're a great little worker bee. You are so creative. You are just such a great friend. You love to cook and go on hikes. And those are the things that you're going to really lean into. And dating is just one of the many things that you do. And dating is just going to sort of maybe complement your already very full life that defines you. Or maybe you just tolerate the uncomfortable feelings of anxiety and of uncertainty that we all feel when we're dating. And if you want, you can define the relationship a little earlier so that you're not in the unknown part of the relationship. Problem solved? I hope so.
Hi, Jeff. So my question is, I am a baby therapist who has just started practicing, but I am also 40 years old. So I am struggling with a bit of imposter syndrome for many reasons, some of those being that I don't have the clientele under my belt. I don't have the experience. I know that I have life experience, and that's kind of holding me by and getting me through. But, also other reasons, self-confidence, all of the reasons. And I appreciate your content and that you normalize therapists being in therapy and that we are people and we can be hot messes. But I am just so struggling with imposter syndrome and feeling like, I'm not providing my clients the best version of me because my life is a mess. And how could I possibly be able to provide insight and advice when I'm struggling myself?
Join the club, babe. I'm a fucking mess. I'm such a messy bitch. Did you listen to my intro for this podcast? Oh my God. Get your shit together, Therapy Jeff. But I'm such a lovely, beautiful mess that is aware of a lot of his messiness, and that's all that really matters. So shut the fuck up about not being a good enough therapist because you're a mess. Nobody's not a mess. There's that. But I get it. Also, can I just validate what you're saying? I remember when I was a literal baby at 24 years old, and I just got my graduate degree, and I drove up to Portland, Oregon from Los Angeles, and I started my private practice, and oh my God, I was just overwhelmed with the feeling of being a fraud. And I was like, oh my God, these clients are coming to see me. They're scheduling sessions with me. I started a private practice at 24 years old. What the fuck do I know? All I know is the 2 years of graduate school I was in and the 1 year of the internship that I did where I counseled 12-year-old boys who were like little turd skater boys that were just so adorable. But that was the only, I did like family therapy. Those are the only experiences I had. And now I'm seeing like adult individuals that have real problems. What the fuck? Who am I to treat them? I get it. The thing is that the fraud part of being a therapist, of like, am I going to be a good enough therapist for you? I'm not exactly sure that totally goes away. I've now been a therapist for 20 years. Oh my God, I look so young and act so young, but so wise, right? The thing is that like the am I a good enough therapist is still present within me, but it's just not so powerful anymore. I also am a really good therapist. And I didn't find that out until I continued being a therapist and started to feel like I knew what I was doing. But there's always going to be a part of me that's just like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like being the best match for my clients. I do typically rely on this one thing the most. And you've probably heard about this in graduate school when you became a therapist, that like over 80% of the healing that happens in therapy is directly correlated to the relationship that you have with your clients. There's been studies. I don't know what those studies are, but I've been told there are studies that prove this, that the most healing part of therapy is having a good, healthy relationship with your therapist. The other 20% of what? Interventions, psychological theories, analysis, how savvy you are in the room, whatever. Like that's important, and you'll keep on working on that and get better and better at it. But really, it's just about having a non-judgmental, compassionate, 100% positive regard for your client, where like you feel like you just love them. You're showing up and you care about them, and that your client can feel that. And I imagine you're probably pretty good at doing that. So when all else fails and you think that you're not being a good enough therapist, understand that the main thing, sometimes the only thing that matters, is just sitting in that room and being kind and being a good listener, a good reflective listener, being compassionate, trying to do some problem solving with the client and being like, oh, okay, where did this start? What's going on here? And like going on a journey with the client, being like, I'm here for you. I got you. Emotionally, I'm going to support you. And whatever version you want to show up in the office, we're going to do this together, right? So I think that a lot of baby therapists, me included, focus so much on like, we need to be super savvy and smart with all the theories and interventions. And while that is part of it, and you will get better at that, understand that most of it is just showing up and being really sweet. Also, you're going to get better at being a therapist naturally as you continue to see folks. And a lot of it you'll see is kind of how do I explain this? A lot of me being a good therapist was me kind of getting out of the way, like getting out of my head, getting into my body, and sort of intuitively connecting with how do I need to show up for this client, or what do I need to say to this client. It's similar to the experience that musicians might have or writers might have when they're in that creative flow. I found out early on, thankfully, that for me, being a therapist is more of an art than a science. You know, it's about the relationship. It's about like knowing how to intuitively respond to somebody who's in a crisis or who's sad or who wants support. It's more of we're kind of flowing back and forth together, being creative, being artists together. And does this make sense? It's something that you'll eventually kind of tap into every now and then you'll learn to get into that flow. It's also okay if you don't know all the stuff. Sometimes when I'm a therapist, I have a bad day, or I'm distracted, or I'm having a bad, I'm not able to remember things that I want to remember, something like that. And it's okay if I show up as messy or not a quote unquote good enough therapist. My clients are very forgiving, and they don't even think that I'm not doing a great job. They're like, they don't even see the times where I think I'm fucking up as a therapist. Definitely something that has helped me the entire time I've been a therapist is like get a consultation group or get a group supervision. I have had the same group supervision and consultation group for the last 17, 18 years, and it's been amazing. So finding support within my community, connecting with other baby therapists who feel just as afraid, just as scared as you can be really helpful. Really take it easy on yourself. You're going to be okay. Stop putting so much pressure. Really focus on being in the moment with your client and being just a kind human being. Now, I think that some people, some non-therapists might be listening to this thinking like, what? That's all you're doing? My friend can do that. Your friend has an agenda. Your friend isn't trained in like the listening skills that we therapists have. And we're not your friend. We're your therapist. It's a very unique relationship that you have with your client. So just throwing that out there. What else can I say? I can say that this will pass. You're going to start being more confident. It'll slowly start going away, while at the same time it'll go away faster than maybe you thought. I remember that when I was the first, very, very, very first session that I ever had, it was with a 12-year-old little skater boy. And I was in the office and he was in the waiting room, and I just had to open the office door to greet him in the waiting room, to bring him in. And I remember thinking there's a 50-50 chance that instead of going through the door and opening it and letting him in the office, that I'm just going to open the office window, step out of that window, and walk away and never be a therapist ever again, because I am so fucking scared. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to handle this. I'm surely going to let this kid down. I stood by that window. It was a ground floor office, so I could have just stepped out and walked to the beach and then just dropped out of grad school. There was maybe 5 to 15 times where it was close that I did that in graduate school. Luckily, I did not do that. Instead, I opened the door. I greeted him. He came into the office. I was very overwhelmed and scared, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be a human being. And it worked out. And that's all you need to do for now. Okay. That is it. If you want to send me questions, you can send me your voice notes to my email, which is jeff@therapyjeff.com. I'm collecting all of your voice memos, and I will promise to answer them in future podcasts. You can also get my book, Big Dating Energy. It came out. It's really good. I'd also appreciate it if you gave me a 5-star review and told me about how much you loved these solo episodes. Okay. Bye.